Hello, this is Chef Petrina, and today I'm going to be cooking chicken and vegetable noodles. Now, the noodles that I'm going to be using are mainly gluten-free type noodles. I've got this flat brown rice noodles, okay, and it's mainly made from brown rice flour and water. Fairly healthy. And I've got these black noodles made from black soybean flour, and these are the gluten-free ones. Now, just reading to you some of the nutrition information. So these noodles, these black soybean flour noodles, they are delicious gluten-free noodles that are high in fiber and a good source of plant-based protein. They are perfect to twist through your stir-fry, top with vegetables for a fresh noodle salad bowl, or toss through the same way with soy sauce, rice mirin, and sesame oil. Sounds delicious. Now, because I'm cooking for more than one person and for a few meals as well, I'm going to also be adding these, which are made from the edamame soybean flour. Again, it's gluten-free and again, plant-based and a real good source of fiber as well. These noodles takes just a few minutes to cook in boiling water. These ones, these two, and this one, I believe it takes, doesn't actually say, but I know I've tried it before and it basically takes like about maybe 10 minutes or so or less. So I'm gonna start cooking, and I've got my chicken ready. I'm using chicken breast today. I've got my favorite vegetable, broccoli. Broccoli is so full of good antioxidants. And I've got also chestnut mushrooms, which I'm going to use, and also garlic, shallots, and some onions. Let's get started. I've got this pot of water. Just bring it up to the boil. And just for the recipe's sake, these are 200 grams of the black bean noodles. These are also 200 grams. And I'm also going to be using 2 packets of these, which are 100 grams each, as you can see. So I'm going to use 2 of them. So the proportion will be equal. Just going to cut open the packet of noodles. And once the water boils, I'm going to be adding the noodles into the boiling water. Now, I normally like to add a bit of sea salt to the water as well, so I've got just like a little handful of sea salt, pink Himalayan sea salt that is coarse, and added that. Whilst the water is boiling, many people, they say, cooking takes time, cooking healthy takes time. However, if and when you use the time adequately or productively, then you will find that you'll be able to prepare this meal in a matter of possibly 20-25 minutes. And it's a delicious, nutritious meal. So whilst waiting for the water to boil, I've also chopped up this chicken breast, 2 medium-sized chicken breasts meat, finely chopped. I have chopped up 1 purple onion, 1 shallot, and I've also got garlic and the 2 mushrooms that I mentioned over here. You can see the garlics over here, finely chopped as well. So all this is ready for the frying with the noodles once the noodles is cooked. And I've also got my favorite broccoli, all washed. I'm going to be chopping it slightly finer as well. And we will be ready to go. I've got also over here some washed chives. It's mainly onions, really, the green parts of the onions. So that's going to be used as a garnish as well. So we are ready to go, just waiting for the water to boil, and I'm going to be adding the 3 different noodles into the water. Now, what I like about this cookware is it's Salad Master. It's got a vapor valve, and when the water or the heat in the pan or pot is hot enough, it will actually start bleeping, really, like this. Okay, so you know the water's boiled. You can see that. I'm going to add the harder part of the noodles first, which is the brown noodles. 200 grams of that goes into the water. I'm gonna let that boil slightly more, or bring to the boil before, that's what I was talking about, before I add the other softer type noodles. So let me just give that a little stir so the heat goes right through. And while waiting for the noodles to soften a bit, this is what I mean. I've cut up the broccoli. Now I've kept these just to show you. Most people, these are broccoli stems basically. Most people would just use this bit and throw the rest of the stalk away. That is such a waste. Look at what I've done. The stalky part of the broccoli is also edible, so do not waste food, and make sure you eat all these as well. Now these might seem too chunky for you, which is why I've literally cut them up into smaller pieces, smaller manageable pieces. So remember this, I've mentioned on previous recipes as well that the parts of the broccoli, a lot of people tend to waste it, and it can be eaten. So you can hear this vapor valve. You can see the water's boiling a lot more. So let me add the other finer noodles into the water as well. Okay, that's the black bean noodle added. Gonna let that cook. And remember, this only needs to be cooked for about 3 to 5 minutes according to the instructions. The rice noodles, the packet didn't quite have any instructions. However, I know because it's a lot coarser, it takes probably about double the time, which is why I added the brown rice noodles into the hot water first. So just mix it all up, put it down, ensure all the noodles are covered by the hot water so it is cooked. And once that's cooked, I'm gonna remove the heat and also probably let it soak in the hot water for a while, because that will soften it slightly more. And then I'm gonna start cooking the chicken and adding the onions, garlic, and shallots as well in, together with other herbs and spices, a bit more seasoning, soy sauce, sea salt to flavor the noodles and the chicken. And the dish will be cooked very quickly. Okay, so I've had a quick taste test to check that the noodles are cooked, and they are. I do not want to overcook them as well, because you still want to have it slightly chewy. Like, you know, when you cook spaghetti, for example, you want it to still be a bit firm, not overcooked. And this is basically how I've cooked the 3 different noodles. So I'm going to leave this in a pot. I'm going to use the other pot there to actually fry the chicken and add the noodles in later. let's heat up this pan on low heat. Gonna add my extra virgin olive oil that's in a can. Now, when you're buying olive oil, do either get the ones in a can or the one in dark amber bottles. Do not get the oil that's in plastic or see-through type bottles, because the oil will mix with the plastic and also be affected by the light, and you're not really going to be getting the benefits of the olive oil, even though you may be consuming olive oil, which is why many people, when they tell us, yes, they're taking olive oil, they may not be taking the right ones. So it's a bit like saying you're eating healthy food. However, by the time the food actually gets to you, is there any nutrients left? Now, this is possibly about maybe 5 tablespoons of olive oil. I added quite a bit because I want to be able to sear the chicken as well. Let me add the chicken now. Okay. It may splash a bit. There you go. Because I didn't quite dry the chicken. That's a bit of water. So, as you may know, water and oil aren't the greatest of friends when it comes to being heated up. Okay. So you want to be cooking these small diced chicken breast pieces for a few minutes until it's properly cooked. That's it. I've got all the chicken in now. That's great. And I'm going to be adding some herbs and spices to it. First one is turmeric, about a teaspoon of it. Let me just stir the chicken and let that, you can see parts of the chicken are already cooked quite well. Okay, now I am also going to be adding in the chopped garlic, onions, and shallots. Okay, there you go. Give it a further stir so everything is cooked quite well. Okay. I'm also going to be adding some turmeric powder. Sorry, not turmeric powder. I've already added turmeric powder. This is paprika. Again, about a teaspoon. Just to give it more color as well. There we go. Stir it in more. And I like to add some spices and chili as well to it. So I've got here some, my favorite, coriander seeds. Probably about a little teaspoon. Maybe a bit more, only because I love it. Okay. And I've got cumin seeds. Again, about a teaspoon. Or a bit more, only because I love it as well. Now you can see I'm not someone who really measures everything down to the drop. However, if you are, then the recipe, the suggested recipe is going to be in the comments of this video. So it's cooking really well. I'm going to leave that to cook for a few more minutes. And whilst we're at that as well, I have got chili flakes. Chili flakes, somebody gave it to me. So I'm going to add, because I like things to be fairly spicy. I'll just show you, that's just the amount. It's like about, I don't know, half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon, which is why I'm adding 2 packets of these. It's actually 0.5 grams of chili flakes. It's not too hot for me anyway, so I added that. Just gonna turn down the heat slightly. Oh, so the chili flakes are going to be well mixed into this as well. I've also got what we call ketchup mayonnaise, 20 grams, and that is basically consists of brown sugar, dark soy sauce, and a bit of salt and molasses as well. So I'm going to add that in. Remember, because I did not add any salt, or haven't added any salt yet to the dish, so this is going to be part of the seasoning. And this is going to be a lot healthier than what most chefs will be using, which is the fine processed type salt. This is made from soybeans, molasses, and a bit of brown sugar as well. So it's all good stuff. Give that another stir. Ensure the chicken is adequately cooked, because obviously that's meat and you don't want to have any issues with the meat. Look at that wonderful color. Now I'm going to be adding the mushrooms. The chopped mushrooms in, and next will be the chopped broccoli. If you see a bit of this green here, don't know whether you can see it over here. It's a bit of green. It's a little strand of spring onion. Here you go. Every time I try to find it, it gets lost. There you can see. Come on. There you go. I've got a little green here because that's a little strand of spring onion that I found whilst chopping the mushrooms. So as you know me, nothing goes to waste. Everything's going to be included in. The broccoli goes in next. I'm going to add the stalky bits first because that takes a little longer to cook. Okay, looking absolutely lovely. Add some of the broccoli. Now, because I can see the pan is already quite full, and I will also have to add the noodles next, so I'm not going to be using all the broccoli. I'm going to do like two portions of these, cooked separately. Obviously, you have a larger pan, then you can add all of it. Okay, so that's the dish almost done. I'm going to cover it for a while, let the broccoli and the chicken cook a bit more before I add the noodles. And whilst waiting for this, I'm going to be tidying up the plates and washing as well. Let's have a look. That's great. Let's give it a stir. Now, if you know me, I also do not like my vegetables overcooked because that's where all the nutrients are lost. So it's still going to be fairly firm. I'm going to grab some of these noodles here and add them to the pot. There you go. Try to get the brown rice noodles as well. You can see it now. Oops. And a bit more of the brown rice noodles. Okay. Got a proper stir. And at least I'm gonna make the first portion served before I add more of the noodles in, so that this pan isn't overflowing with too much food beyond what it can handle. So I'm gonna let this heat up and mix well with all the juices and sauces from what I've added, so it's adequately mixed and that's ready to be served. Just remembered about these spring onions, or it's basically the chops of the onions that I've washed that I'm gonna use as garnish. Just use a scissors, or you could use a knife to cut it up quite finely. It doesn't need a lot of heat, just a little warming up to minimize the sulfur type taste that you get from these spring onions or onion greens. And that's ready to serve. You could obviously also add other vegetables. However, as you know me, I tend to cook using the vegetables that are available at the time of cooking. It's nice and green. It's got so many colors as well. You could also add tofu in place of chicken if you want, or tofu with the chicken, or seafood if you want to as well. So this dish is the protein source. The key protein source is really up to you. Okay, I'm gonna dish it out now. Please do give me a thumbs up on this video and share this with your friends. Here we go. The dish is served. Isn't that lovely? You can see the broccoli, the chicken, the noodles, and the spring onions, garlic, mushrooms as well. Gonna try a little bit of the noodles first. You can always also use a chopstick if you're adventurous enough. Absolutely wonderful. Try a bit of the chicken with the broccoli. I'm not too sure you could hear, the broccoli is still crunchy, and this is the way I enjoy it and how I'm going to be loving it. Now, you're welcome to also garnish it with herbs of your choice, like coriander, or if you're someone who likes watercress, for example, I've got a bag here, which I'm going to add to my meal as well, that is highly nutrient dense in iron. So if you're someone who's anemic or feeling a bit tired, and you're vegan and you don't consume a lot of iron from meat sources, then this is the way to go. There's a lot of iron in this dish as well. So I hope you found this recipe inspiring and you will try it shortly.